Hi, this is Tanya Brown. I'm with St Julian. So many times I do so many podcasts or interviews, and people, so many questions are asked over and over again. So I just wanted to take a moment to just kind of talk to you about who I am, what I do, and how I do what I do. Okay, so St Julian, just to kind of backtrack, St Julian is named after my grandmother, who is one of my psychic guides. One of my earliest memories of just connecting with her and not realizing that I was actually connecting with her was as a child. I couldn't have been older than like 7 or 8, and I was in my little twin bed, and I felt a presence at the foot of the bed. And I was in that phase between being half awake and half asleep, and I started to get nervous. And as I was feeling the nervousness of somebody being in my room, I remembered hearing, "It's okay, I'm your grandmother." Very calm voice. Uh, and then I opened my eyes and I noticed two things. One, there was nobody there. And the second one was that the voice was actually said in my head. It wasn't said aloud. Now, as a child, I didn't identify with this. I didn't analyze it. I didn't actually even talk about it. I remembered I just went downstairs because I lived in, we had a two-family house, and I was on my bedroom was on the top floor, and I just went downstairs to have somebody make me breakfast, and there was no further thought or conversation about that. And so I didn't identify with actually having a gift. I always thought that I was lucky or that these things were coincidental. I mean, I've had dreams that came true. And to this day, I still have those type of dreams. But I identify with the difference between it actually being a dream and it actually being something that is, I don't know the word to use, but it's more of something, a dream that's actually more meaningful of a indication of something to come is, for lack of a better word, it's more of an indication of things that are going to happen in my future. And I can identify with the difference because certain things feel very specific, and I remember the details. I remembered one dream where I was freelancing at the time, and in the dream, it was the exact office. It was showing my office and the vice president's office. And in the dream, I walked from my office to a certain point where it was right in the purview of the vice president's office. And at that moment, as I walked by and he, I caught his eye, he called me in. And again, this was the dream. And I heard him say, "Oh, hey, Tanya, you got a minute?" And then he asked me, when is your last day again? Like, your contract with us end? And I mentioned it, and he said, "Oh, would you be interested in working in such and such department? Because so-and-so just mentioned to me he has a need for your skill set. So would you like to continue on with the company, working at the company?" So I didn't think anything of the dream at the time I had the dream. But, and this is the interesting thing, I found with my dreams, they come true within 7 to 10 days. And it's only because the feeling of the dream is so major. It's like a life event. I feel it as if it happened, that I keep talking about it or thinking about it. So because I do this, I remember when I had the dream. And that's how I know they come true within 7 to 10 days. So within a few days, I'm literally walking from my office. I get to that point, and he calls me in, and it literally was deja vu. He's speaking to me and saying exactly the same things that he said in the dream. And all I remember thinking to myself was, oh, like I stopped listening because I was just in my head like, oh my God, this happened in my dream. And that's like one of the first dreams that I had that kind of made me think, oh, I'm so lucky. Isn't that a coincidence? So there was a situation, all this came to a head because I would literally, call friends up and go, well, why am I getting a wedding vibe from you? Are you engaged? And only to have my friends say, no, I'm just thinking about where's this relationship going? Are we going to get married? Blah, blah, blah. Interesting. And I did this with a lot of friends. Like I would catch their vibration of what's going on and what they're thinking about. And meanwhile, they never questioned me. It's an interesting thing about the people that you have around you because my friends never questioned me. Like they never thought it was odd. It was just Tanya being Tanya. But all this came to a head when I went to a past life regression event. And in the event, um, I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Weiss. If you're not, you should be. He's an amazing author, and uh, he's a past life regressionist. And his story is fascinating because he was a skeptic prior to actually experiencing this, and it took him experiencing it to actually become a believer. And that holds true for my story because I went to psychics for years because I just enjoyed hearing what they had to say, and it was a very good experience for me. And every psychic I went to said, you're gifted. You have the gift of sight. And I thought that was just cliche. It was just part of their spiel. Not to say psychics have spiels, but I just assumed that was part of, everybody's got a gift, which is very true, but in this case, they were actually being accurate. But I didn't believe them, and all of them said, the spirit of your grandmother is watching over you. Again, didn't think anything of it, and I'll never forget. After going to so many psychics, and I'll get back to Brian Weiss in a second, but after going through so many psychics, I would always lose my keys. In college, my roommates and friends would make fun of me because I literally would go back to the apartment how many times because I forgot my keys. It was just a joke. Like, okay, here she comes again. She's not gone yet. She's coming back. So even living, on my own, same thing. As I'm leaving, it became a ritual of sorts. Where's my keys? And I remember one time I said, okay, spirit of grandmother, if you're watching over me, where are my keys? Like that. In a spot that I specifically looked at were the keys. Again, I thought it was lucky. Bear with me for a second. I think I have an eyelash in my eye. I thought it was lucky. Again, I was a bit of a skeptic. So, back to Brian Weiss. So, my friends introduced me to his books, Many Lives, Many Masters. Fantastic, phenomenal book. You should get it, read it. It, in essence, changed my life because it made me interested in the past life regression and learning who you are or were in a past life and how that relates to who you are in this life. So, Brian Weiss event, I saw in Hay House that he was coming to the New York City area. And of course I booked it, wanted to go, very excited. And then what happened was, the first time I booked it, Hurricane Sandy happened and I had to cancel. I mean, there was just no way. And I think his event was canceled as well. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was. In any event, following year he came up and booked it, not even a thought. Now, bear in mind, the friend who introduced me to Brian Weiss couldn't go to this event, so I ended up going by myself. Not a big deal. Didn't care. I'm okay going to places by myself. So I go to this event, and I know in his book it's all about meditation and digging deep and calming the mind and blah blah blah. And I knew that I was not going to. I went in there knowing I was not going to have a past life regression, and I couldn't meditate to save my life. If you asked me at that time to meditate, I would sit there and my mind would maybe go blank for a second, but then I'd start thinking about, did I pick up my dry cleaning? Did I pay my cable bill? Ooh, where is such and such? And then my mind would just drift. So for me, meditation was just a joke. It was just the idea of me trying to clear my mind was just not something that I was able to fully do. So in any event, I still went there because I thought, if nothing else, I enjoyed his books. He's going to be lecturing. I'm going to enjoy the lecture. And even he says that not everybody is going to have a regression at this event. He, joked that people would bring their spouses or friends, and the friends would end up having the regression, and the person who was interested in the event would probably get nothing out of it. So there was no guarantee that anyone would walk away, having had this experience. So that was fine. I basically felt cool. I'm good with that. And so then it happened. There's a situation in psych in the event where he called it psychometry, where you take an object that someone has that has energy, and you do a reading on that object. So whatever. We did, and just before, let me just jump back for a second. When he started to do the meditations, because again, he's telling stories, he's sharing his life situations as it relates to past life regression, the experiences that certain clients have had, which were fascinating. And then he slowly went into the meditation, and his tonality and his voice and the music just lended to the overall experience. At least I, just found myself when he said, "Okay, here we go." I was transported into this meditation. I had 3 past life regressions in the course of that entire event. Now, for somebody who did not think that I would have it, this was very exciting for me. I was blown away by what I saw, what I felt, what I knew going through these regressions. I saw myself in different time periods. I understood who I was in those lifetimes. I got so much information of the learning experience from those lifetimes. It was beyond phenomenal. I mean, I'll share with you one of them. I was an American Indian, and my goal, the thing that soul, it gets me a little teary thinking about it, because it was very interesting. The soul in that lifetime that I was a mother of warriors, and that was the thing. She had 3 sons who were proud warriors who died fighting, and her life goal was achieved. She was proud of the sons that she raised who died fighting for the things that they believed in. And it was just amazing. And it was just so interesting. But back to the psychometry, and I apologize as I go back and forth, and I hope you're following along. You've made it this far. The psychometry is the idea of taking an object that holds the energy from someone and doing a reading on that object. And it because I didn't know anybody at the event, and actually they did say, connect with someone who you don't know. And this is very interesting, because in doing readings, I will only do readings for people I don't know, because my ego's not involved in it. If it's a good friend of mine, of course I want to tell her only good things. Of course I want to tell her she's going to get that job. But if it's somebody that I don't know, it's more interesting to see what I see, knowing that I know nothing. And it gives me, and for the client to confirm the information, because there's no bearing or basis for me to know what I know and what I'm telling you. So in the psychometry, I forgot what I gave this woman that I connected with. She was from Long Island, and whatever. She seemed like a nice woman, and I gave her something. She gave me a necklace, and in the moment she gave me the necklace, I heard it's her mother. And again, I'm skeptic. So the first thing I thought was, well, of course it's her mother. This is a woman giving me a necklace. Of course it's her mother, duh. So again, my eyes are closed, and then I see the images open up, and I see her walking on the beach. And I know that this is her as a child. and I see a Labrador Retriever. And I remember thinking to myself, well, of course, I'm projecting this. Again, I'm skeptical. I'm projecting this. I love dogs. I don't love big dogs. I love little lap dogs. And I'm saying this in my head to myself. I love little lap dogs. So, of course, I projected this image. And in my mind, the dog came up to me, licked my face, and said, I'm real. So I just waved the white flag and just accepted the information. And when the lights went on, and Brian Weiss said, okay, now turn around to the person that turn around to the person whose object that you were holding and give them the information that you received. So I just blurted it all out. I gave her everything that I saw, heard, and felt. And she started just crying hysterically. She said that was her mother's beach house that they went to every summer. That dog, she gave me the dog's name and some other things that she started to go on to. And at that point, I was just like, oh my God. The funny thing is, this woman did not leave my side for the rest of the event. It was a full 6 or 8 hour day. I don't remember, but she did not leave my side because this was her mother who passed from cancer, and she wanted more information. Now, bear in mind, this moment was a watershed moment for me. I realized that this was something I needed to accept and realize that this was actually a gift. Now what? So I'm still in my head, and she's trying to get more information from me, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I have a gift, and the gift, what is this gift? How do I use it? And that weekend, I belong to a lot of networking groups, and I contacted a lot of friends and said, Facebook friends, people I don't intuitively know. And I said, okay, here's the deal. And I relayed to them the entire story. I said, who wants a free reading? I spent an entire weekend doing one reading after another, seeing how I was getting the information, how I was feeling getting the information, how the information was coming to me. And that's how basically my business was born. As a psychic, it's as if somebody is whispering the answers in my ear. As a clairvoyant, it's as if my eyes are closed and the information is shown to me like I'm in a movie theater. The lights open, the curtain opens, and the picture starts to form. And I never know what I'm going to get. And that's the great thing about reading people I don't know, is because I have no preconceived notions. I did a radio interview, a show in Atlanta, and it was quite interesting because it was, I forgot the host name, the host and the co-host, and I kept focusing on his name, but her name kept popping up in my head, and I kept focusing on his name, but her name kept popping up in my head, and it was supposed to be a 15-minute segment. And what happened was the producer, as they went to commercial, the producer said to me, do you mind if, are you okay with continuing? Because they really enjoyed talking to you and they wanted to keep going. So I said, of course. So here's what happened. I introduced myself. It's very cordial, it's fun, and then we get to the reading, and I'm telling the gentleman what I'm getting. And he's very polite, but very, it's not registering. It's not registering at all. We cut to commercial. I come back on, and he says to me, have you ever done a reading for someone that it doesn't resonate with the person you're reading, but it resonates with the person next to them? Because all the things you're saying to me resonates to, I forgot what the woman's name was. I'll just say Susan for the point of this conversation. Yeah, everything's resonating with Susan. And she's sitting here nodding her head with every single thing you're saying. And I said, well, as I was trying to connect with you, her name kept popping into my head. So yes, that does make sense. But my point being was, I knew nothing about the DJ other than he was like Uncle Carl, and that was his on-air name. and her name was Susan, and I just go in with the name. Some people will say, well, my name is Tanya Brown, and my birthday is May 4th. I don't need your birthday. I'm not an astrologer. I don't even need your last name. I just need your name, your nickname, whatever pseudonym you go by, and that's how I connect. And, like one client, and that's the thing, it's like I get information in so many different ways. I was doing an in-person reading a couple weeks ago, and as I'm on the train going in, I heard, yeah, she brought something. She wants you to read an item that she brought, which is okay because I like with tachometry. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, so I apologize. But I could read the energy on an item, and you know, I will, if we do readings in person, I'm happy to do that. Also, I with another client, she was, and this is one of the things that I want to help you with. One client, she was just stressed out on her business. With social media is very stressful for many reasons because you see so many people who are killing it. They are killing it on their business, doing extremely well, and God bless them because you're seeing their highlight reel. You're not actually seeing the hard work that they put into to get that amazing highlight reel. So you're doing the comparison where you're just either starting out or maybe you've been at it for a while now and you're not seeing the results that you hoped for. And we've all been there, and it's frustrating. What I do, my focus is, I love helping entrepreneurs tap in, tell them where their businesses are currently, and telling them what I see for their business. Case in point, one of my, I love this client because it was so much fun, and I think you see the recap on my page of what happened with her. For whatever reason, and I don't normally do this, but I said I want to feel what she's feeling. And I said that before, because I get a lot of information before I get on the phone call. I tap in, connect. Before the Skype call or the in-person call, I connect and see, I go through a list of questions with myself. Unless you say you want to specifically focus on this, I will focus on what areas that I want to focus on. Like one gentleman had said he wanted to focus on his career. He gave it to me in a specific order: career, health, and love life. Love life was the last. And the minute I am seeing that, I basically heard in my head, he doesn't want to talk about those things. He wants to talk about his love life. Okay, what's going on with his love life? And they were telling me that he just broke up with someone, but it's not over. And it was kind of hard to understand because I'm trying to interpret what they're saying, and I'm like, well, how can you break up with somebody, but it's not over? I mean, there's so many variables to that. So I got more information, and when we got on the phone, I said to him, I'm like, yeah, you just broke up with someone, and it's not over. He goes, yeah, we still live together. Oh, okay. So back to the business reading that I did, the clarity reading. So when I said I want to feel what she's feeling, I had trouble breathing. It was a panic attack, and I understand what that feels like because I get panic attacks. I love stress for some odd reason, but I started to feel the chest pains, and it was just like, whew, trouble breathing, whatever. So I took some notes and other stuff that they were giving me. And I said to her, we were on Skype, and first thing I said to her is like, I have to tell you, I connected with you, and what I felt was I had trouble breathing. And she said, and I love this because she's from Australia, I'm gobsmacked that you said that because I've been feeling that way for over a month now, and I was just, hoping it was going to go away. And I said, well, look, I am not a doctor by any means. I said the closest I've gotten to medical education is Grey's Anatomy. So the fact that they're giving this to me is because they want you to go to the doctor and you to get it checked out. Don't take my information. Take this as a message for you to go to a professional. And I gave her information on her business, where I saw it going, and actually, we connected uh, recently. It actually is in that she basically is doing exactly what I told her she was going to be doing for her business, and travel as a result. And it's really exciting to see your clients actually receive. It's interesting to see your clients win. She was frustrated, stressed out, and I gave her the information of what I saw her doing, and then to see her doing that. And don't get me wrong, this did not happen within 30 days. Her business did not magically turn around, but I gave her steps to actually keep her moving in that direction, so that she was getting small wins and she was seeing results. And that's the most important thing. When you're seeing results in your business, it keeps you motivated and excited for the things to come, because there's never going to be an overnight success. This was, I would say, a year and a half later, where she is literally where she wants to be, and still moving towards other things in her business. I mean, it's a growth process, but she's really excited where she is, and her business is really exciting as well. It's leaps and bounds from where she was. But the point that I'm making is, this is what you get when you book me for a reading. Specifically, a business deep dive. It's an overall session where we go in and I tell you what I see in your business. It's recorded, and it's fun. It's just us chatting, and before we even get on the phone, I'm getting information for you of what I see, what I feel, what I hear, and then as we're talking, more information is coming up. I remember one client, we were talking, and I have a bunch of psychic guides, and one of them, her voice is louder than most the others, so I enjoy when she gets my attention, even though it's a bit loud, but I'm grateful for it. As we were talking, she started to get louder and louder, because she wanted me to basically convey this message to him. And I did share with him, the book that he was writing. And he was like, yeah, I'm not writing a book. And I was like, no, it's already written. And I told him exactly how it was going to be done. And he was like, yeah, but nobody's going to buy it. And, we're going back and forth. And it's funny, psychic readings can be like therapy, and I'm not putting down therapists, because that's a valuable tool to have in your toolkit. I'm just saying, for some people, it can be like therapy, because 9 months later, his book's out. But it was just giving him the confidence to know that, yeah, you can do this, because I see it. They're telling me you're doing it, and I see that it's happening, that it's going to be out there. There is value in what you're doing, and there's an audience for what you're doing. So the point that I'm making is, for those of you who you need confidence, you need clarity, you need insight in what's going on in your business and in your life, this is for you. This is for you to connect, book a session, and let's go from there. And that's it. And also, there is in addition to that, I'm going to be putting together. Well, I'm not putting together. I already have it. It's a 90-day mentoring program for those of you who want more help. Because being an entrepreneur can be lazy. Lazy. God, I don't know where that word came from. Can be lonely. And it can be lonely, and it helps to have somebody on your side, somebody to help keep you on track, help motivate you, and in addition to that, guide you in certain directions. And having this gift actually helps me in that regard, to help you on your path, on your business journey, and help you to achieve your goals. So again, this is Tanya Brown with St Julian, and I hope to connect with you and help you on your business goals. Have a lovely day, and speak soon.